I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
How are you?
Hey, who wants to help me get this recorder out of here? I need some muscle over here.
You are listening to Blame Your Brother.
Hello. Welcome, everybody, back to Blame Your Brother, episode 269, bro. All right, so we're streaming the podcast live and on YouTube. For all you people out there, all you internet nerds, come hang out with us, youtube.com/Blame Your Brother. You can come hang out with us. And if you missed that, come grab the podcast every Friday morning on all the podcast platforms. Just put in Blame Your Brother. We will pop up. Tonight, we're going to be doing the Mount Rushmore of Biopics. That's right. A lot of biopics coming out this time of year, a lot of Oscar talk, and we wanted to find out what the best movies about people's lives were. So we'll break that down to Mount Rushmore. Of course, Ukraine's crazy. We got more Kanye updates. So a lot of things to get into. So we will get going full force into the show. We are Blame Your Brother. I am one half of this duo. I am David, a.k.a. D-Brew, voice of people, Glenn Jackson, the spiritual midget, 40%er, Mr. Wonderful, and this gentleman sitting over to my left, it is John.
Everybody, John here, a.k.a. Tico, a.k.a. Mr. Groupon, Mr. PTI.
Whoa. You
the
like
Magic Man.
Yeah, look at that, bro. It's cool.
And the Madman.
They got John Tortorella, a madman.
I like that. How do I do that? I don't even know which one that was. No, it's not that one. Wow, that was magic, John. That sound drop came out of nowhere. So, yes, I am David. I am John. We have much to discuss. So, let's just jump into last week's show. We did the Mount Rushmore of movie soundtracks. Of course, people were very involved in this, very passionate about this discussion. So, I'll just go over a couple of listings that people had on here. So, some people agreed with us. They thought our lists were very good. And some people said, hey, you missed the most basic of soundtracks. So we'll look at what our lists were. Of course, we had Purple Rain. We had, trying to think of the list offhand. I don't even know what it is. Empire Records.
Dirty Dancing.
Pulp Fiction. The Crow. We had it all. So Paisley on Pattern Paisley said, you missed one of the great ones, Garden State, Dazed and Confused, The Great Gatsby, and Hannah. Richard Call says, you guys left off Atomic Blonde. Okay. Obviously, we missed that one. And we had a few more on Twitter, which are very hard to find because we've been tagged in this very long, lengthy. The thing with Twitter I don't get, man. If someone tags you in something, you're just in it. But anyways, I found it. David Howard on Twitter says his list would have been Guardians of the Galaxy, The Crow, That Thing You Do, and Maximum Overdrive. So that
that's three of our.
Yeah, I mean that lines up pretty good. The Artful Roger on Twitter says we should have had Saturday Night Fever and The Bodyguard.
We did mention The Bodyguard.
That's true.
For the record. So.
The Great Song Podcast said Rocky IV belongs on any soundtrack list. Any list, John. We did have Jay Schlobetsky. God, I hope I'm saying that right. But he comments a lot with us lately. He's been very fun. He said he would have had Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Are those all John Hughes movies?
Yes, and he also had Heavy Metal, Maximum Overdrive, Dazed, and Confused. And me and him had a kind of a talk about it. It was one of those things where a lot of these soundtracks seem to hit when you're a certain age, right? So it's like those young adult ages where you listen to a soundtrack, and his were like he was a little bit older than us, so everything he was listing was kind of when he was our age for all of our picks for the most part. So
I'm surprised nobody gave us flack about not having Top Gun. I was thinking about Top Gun.
Yeah, Top Gun's a good one.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted to, obviously, like I said last week, the Cruel Intentions has a very good soundtrack. And so we had some, it's fun, man. You just throw it out there and see what happens, So that was one of my more fun discussions, and I like that one. So we'll see if tonight's Biopics hits the same way. All right, well, that was last week's show. We're going to move forward. John, anything new going on with you this week, brother?
Man, so after you left yesterday, wife...
Wouldn't be yesterday. Last week.
Last week. Wife got super sick.
Uh-oh.
I went to work that night. I got super sick while I was at work.
Okay.
And so just...
Back up. So I'm editing this show and everything, and for behind the scenes, me and John usually hang out and talk for about an hour or so, just about life and whatnot. And John's like, I got to go, man. Like, when you get done, you can just leave. I'm like, all right. So I was wrapping up. So you went upstairs. You didn't come back. What is, are you down with the sickness? What is this? Is this like a stomach bug? I'm assuming?
I think they call it a viral infection.
Oh, so
it was pretty nasty.
coming out both ends.
Yeah.
And you got it.
And I got it.
How long did you have it for?
Oh, I was sick for like 3 days.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow. So I was in like the bombs dropping area, and I missed it. Thank God. So stomach bugs are the worst.
They are.
Unless you're trying to lose weight. Then I guess they're the best. But
I didn't lose a single pound.
you didn't? Are you serious?
My wife lost like 7 or 8 pounds, and I'm like, all right, now there's a silver lining. Nope, not me.
Yeah.
I hardly ate anything. I drank so much water, and it just, you'd think that just that alone, aside from the throwing up and everything else, that I'd have lost a pound or two. But nope. And so the worst thing, so that was the primary symptoms, just couldn't hold anything down, no food. That, I mean, and just super tired. And
Okay.
I mean, you know what.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So were you off work these days?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't call out.
I know you don't. That's why I was wondering.
I've been at my current job for almost 11 years, and I probably called out maybe about 4 times.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. The worst part, the stomach bug, obviously the worst parts are what is happening. But it's that intrepidation, that fear when you start, you're like, am I feeling better? Let me try this food and let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that fear is just, it's undescribable.
Yeah.
Because, you're praying for the best, but like this could go wrong. Like, it's bad when you're drinking Gatorade and it's coming up. You're like, oh, this is bad times. Like,
the worst thing is, like, the thing that I was like getting rid of the most was orange juice. And the acid and stuff in the orange juice.
Yeah,
just,
bro, what are you doing? You don't do that.
No, that was before I knew.
Yes.
No.
Okay,
After the fact, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing with any flavor that I was putting down was probably Pedialyte.
Okay, that's good. I find Sprite's good. There's something about that carbonation that kind of I don't drink like.
It's weird because I had the orange juice earlier in the day. Last week I had my trusty Coca-Cola.
Every week.
Not a single drop of that came up.
It's weird how that works out.
Yeah, it's just.
But always remember, people, brats is what you got to remember. Bananas, rice, apple, and toast is what you should be eating when you have a stomach bug. Those things stay down for you. So, and crackers are pretty good too. But
I think bread products kind of soak stuff up.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So brats, don't forget that, people. Well, I mean, you're good now. Seem
Yeah.
to be doing good. Fantastic. So what's going on with me? Not much. I went to a work bowling event today, right before I came here. It was out in Tusculum Lanes, not too far from your house.
Not far from here,
So I had a good time hanging out with coworkers, had a few to drink.
We'd actually been there before.
Yeah, we've been there a couple times, yeah. So it was fun. It's always fun kind of hanging out with coworkers in a different environment. I met a lot of different people tonight, so that was good. So that's what I was doing before I came over here. And then my son's birthday is Monday. He will be 12 years old. So it's kind of hard to stomach, but we're getting there. But last week was my first full, as of tomorrow, my first full week back at work full time. They finally told us no more working from home, no doing this. And it's been pretty rough. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
When you work 3 days at work and 2 days from home, those 2 days are like a lot, because one of those days was Thursday, and generally I just kind of chill, get my work done, but it's in your environment so I can kind of work on the show and get things done. Maybe if I haven't looked up my articles and things like that. So, but man, it's rough, so, and it seems to be across the board.
It feels like being in that situation is like having the ability to fly and then all of a sudden you can't.
It was terrible, and I see Google's is telling people like you need to start coming back in. So I feel like it's not been officially announced, but it's kind of like we're over COVID. Like it's done. Like the mask mandates are dropped. All the mandates are officially over with, and this is giving conservatives kind of a a space to kind of like, oh, see, we told you.
Told you.
But it's like the only reason we can do this is because we did the precautions at the first. I mean, like you understand the fable of the ant and the grasshopper. The only reason the ants are able to live through winter is because they stored up during the year. The grasshopper dies. You guys are the grasshopper. You have not helped us stop this at all. So as of life, sometimes the slackers get to benefit from the workers. I
mean, anybody that partakes in anything kind of fits in that category.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
If you like being a couch potato and lounging around, I mean, somebody busted their butt to invent that television.
Very true.
And then the people that build them and such. And
very true.
So, I mean, everybody benefits from something, but nobody really has the gratitude or the grace to really thank them for it.
So, you're welcome, COVID people. So, there we go. All right, well, let's just jump into some news, John. We've got a couple of stories to hit here. First off, Joe Byron is the viral guy on Bing Bong said. Joe Biden gave his State of the Union address on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. What's the day anymore? I don't know. He gave his address this past week. I'm going to ask. I already know the answer. Did you listen to him? Okay. No, you did not, obviously. Okay. I honestly did not listen to a lot of it. I would kind of tune in, tune out, tune in, tune out. And I feel all the State of the Unions are about the same way. Blah, 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 preach. But, Joe Biden, the funny thing about his is actually he did a lot of things that were geared toward conservatives, as much as he talked about funding the police, kind of defending the border, kind of not letting immigrants in. And, I think if that would have just happened, it would have been run-of-the-mill State of the Union. We wouldn't have had much to talk about. But unfortunately for us and unfortunately for the country, you have a dedicated wing of conservatives that have decided that this is all about them all the time, no matter what. And two of these representatives are Lauren Boebert and Taylor Marjorie Greene. And I don't know if you're familiar with these. They're up on the screen right now.
I think we talked about one of them
We've
before.
talked about Greene before, Marjorie Greene for sure. I mean, these people are insane. I'm actually it's made me lose a lot of faith in humanity that these people got elected. So Taylor Marjorie Greene is she went to CPAC this past weekend, which was it's a conservative conference, but was heavily influenced by white nationalist and pro-Russia agenda there. Take that for what it is. And Lauren Boebert, if I'm saying her name correctly, I hope I am, she decided that during the State of the Union, she was going to yell things out at random, as you do. Like, there's no other world where you do this. Like, you don't have a job where you're sitting there and your boss is giving a speech to your company where you're like, I'm going to chime in with my thoughts right now, because that's what the room needs. Now, I think the lowest point would be this. All right, I'm just going to read this to you. Sharp divides between the parties were evident too, including when the president, Mr. Biden, brought up his late son, Beau Biden, an Iraq war veteran who died of brain cancer in 2015. President Biden on Tuesday called on Congress to pass legislation to aid veterans exposed to toxins while serving in Iraq. And you're thinking, all right, this is a wonderful thing. Who could be against this? A problem, he said, leads to cancers, which, I think we could all, pretty much, I can imagine it. He was then interrupted by Representative Lauren Boebert from Colorado, who yelled, "You put them there! 13 of them." She was referencing 13 troops killed in a suicide attack last year, which really had nothing to do with what he was talking about. He said, one of those soldiers, this is him, continued, was my son, Major Beau Biden. Democrats immediately booed Boebert, and one of them shouted, "Kick her out." The outburst was not the only tense moment of the night. Some in the chamber, including Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, seemed to mock the president as he went on with his speech. Both laughed at some lines, uttered retorts, and live tweeted the event. So these two women decided that this night, State of the Union, as we're in a conflict, as another country, Ukraine, is literally having civilians just killed by the moment, they decided this moment was all about them. John, when you look at moments like this, and I mean, maybe it's been going on forever. I don't remember it. Do you have any hope for the political structure of this country?
I mean, it's hard to have any proof to that, because, I mean, when the ones that are having the loudest voice
Yes.
are the most childish.
True.
I mean,
you look at these women.
it's like giving my 5-year-old the keys to the car and say, you
Right.
not only I'm going to let you drive, but you get to decide where we're going to go and what we're going to do.
Right.
And I mean, these ladies can't see it past the dashboard.
They can't. So I feel at these events this should not be allowed at all. Once again, look, if you have some displeasure about it, if you want to get on social media and tweet about it, that's your right, okay? And I guess you could argue technically it is your right to do this, right? I guess, but at some point we've got to have some decorum in America. So tonight,
I don't remember this happening when Reagan was giving his.
No way, right?
Not
under Bush, not under Clinton. I remember this mainly starting. Definitely during Trump, and then definitely I seem to remember a little bit of it. I'm thinking maybe Obama a little bit, but I can't quite remember. But I feel like there were people. I just feel the Western decline of politics. So I went bowling tonight, and I wore this Black Lives Matter shirt. If you're watching this, it's a Black Lives Matter shirt designed by the band Black Sabbath. I thought it looked pretty cool. I saw Tom Morello wearing it. I was like, that's a pretty cool shirt. I support the cause. I think it looks dope. And so I went there. One of my coworkers is a right-winger, by his own words, not by mine. And he said, I didn't know you were for the Black Lives Matter movement. And I said, okay. I said, and hey, this is a chance to have a dialogue. I said, well, of course I am. I was like, I'm for it. I kind of explained to him the history of the shirt and how I got it. And then we really got into a talk about politics. I said, look, he said, well, you probably hate me, don't you? I said, no, I don't hate you. I said, I look at you and I think you're a good person. And I think we all look at a different way to get to the right place we need to be. And some of us are less educated, some educated, more of us in the middle, right? And everyone that's a good person believes that they're doing the right thing. And who knows what the right thing is? We don't know. We can have 100 books that tell us what the right thing is. Doesn't mean they're necessarily
you could
right.
have two parents in the same household. Obviously, they want the best for their kids, but
Right.
their parenting styles could be vastly different.
Right. That doesn't mean one's right, one's wrong. It just means you have to work together.
Yeah.
I looked at him, I said, I don't hate you, brother. I said, I have friends that are conservative. I have friends that describe themselves as right wing. I look at a person and I say, are you a good human being or not? And that's what I look at. And we can have a discussion from there about what it takes to get this or that. It's your opinion, my opinion. What these women are doing is removing any chance of that happening.
Yeah.
When a man, look, whatever you think of a human being, when he's describing his son, now this is an adult man whose son died serving his country. When you feel that's a need to yell out political points, the test is over. You failed. There's no reason for that. There's none. And these women have run under this Trump. He's pushed people. He's given them the keys to, they believe they can just yell whatever they want, whenever they want to. And it was a cancer. When people speak about Trump and they say he wasn't that bad of a guy, this is the culture he has produced, people.
Yeah.
You cannot think this is good. You can't really sit here and have a serious conversation with yourself and be self-aware and say, this is good. This is bad. This is sporting event shit, man. This is, if you go to a football game and you're rooting against the other team, this is the shenanigans you can pull. This is bigger than this is life. This is actually happening. Yeah. And these women know they only got elected because they said they supported Trump. And I think they know the minute they lay off that gas, is Colorado that insane that this woman got elected? It's insane to me she got elected. Is she good looking? Yes. Is that what people are probably voting for? I'm sure. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that we know that came into factor, JFK versus Richard Nixon. People saw JFK and they said, there's no way I'm voting for that other guy. 0% chance. Yeah. So they're both good. They're attractive women. I'm not
also, that was the first televised debate ever.
Right. It kind of changed the game forever.
Yeah.
But they're both attractive women. I'm sure, and their base loves them because they feel like, oh, they'll do whatever they want to do. But I just feel wrong place, wrong time, and nothing's going to get done doing that. And I do fear that I don't know if we can go back to the way it used to be. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't have
it stinks that, okay, whether you chose personally the people that are sitting in office, a majority of the people did, and there should be a level of respect that goes with that.
Right.
And if there is no room for that respect, then there's no room for you to be a part of that system.
I would agree. So then let's move on to the biggest story of the week is Russia, Ukraine. We talked about it last week, and I'm just going to put it on the table. This is something I think about every day. Every day I think about this conflict. I think about how people have made this a political issue. And I think how this man we're looking at, President Zelensky here on the screen, if you're not watching at home, we're looking at President Zelensky, president of the Ukraine, is doing things that I don't think any elected official in this country has ever done since Teddy Roosevelt, since George Washington, since these presidents had to literally be on the front lines of a damn war, you know? And I think it's insane that we're doing nothing really essentially. I mean, we're cutting off aid to Russia, and we're cutting their banks and their fuel supplies and their airplanes.
Don't buy their vodka.
But we're not sending anyone over to help. There's civilians getting killed daily.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how we as human beings live with this. I think it's just insane. This is obviously wrong. This is a man, Putin, who is not a good guy, okay? But take that aside. He has literally invaded another country. This cannot be allowed. This is insane to me. This is wrong. I get it. They're not in the right NATO. They're not in this. They're not in that. I think we have an obligation to help to some, and we are. I mean, I understand we're helping. And what I think they're hoping, and it looks like that way, they're hoping Ukraine can stop Russia all by themselves, and it makes Russia look like the biggest dummies that have ever, like, you got beat by these guys, we'll never take you serious again.
Yeah.
But my fear is Putin, if you back any animal into a corner, you don't know what they're going to do. This man has nuclear weapons. And he apparently got on a phone call with the president of France, and the president of France said, this is going to end very badly. I talked to him today, and I'm very concerned about how this ends. Now, another concerning thing is China apparently knew this was going to happen and asked Putin to wait until the end of the Olympics to start the invasion. That's problematic. I think this just addresses a lot of issues we have. And then you have Carlson Tucker. Is that his name, or Tucker Carlson? Which one is it?
I don't know.
Whatever. The nitwit on Fox. You have him on there pretty much giving pro-Putin speeches every night. And so finally Donald Trump has finally said, yo, this has got to stop. A little late to the game, but hey, thanks for showing up.
I mean,
guy.
after you've called the guy a genius.
Yeah, you know.
For exactly the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And now it needs to stop. I mean, his actual quote is pretty much like, oh, Biden failed miserably, but it's wrong. I don't know how you think.
This wouldn't have happened if under my administration.
100%. That's exactly what he's saying,
Yeah.
which is crazy. I mean, you know what, truthfully, maybe it wouldn't have. I don't know. But you can't play with what if. You got to play with what is. You know, we can all play what if. Play what if my whole life. What if I'd done this? I may be famous. I may be rich. We're in the what is community right now. And I don't know, like, how much you've been watching about it, but it's just something that kind of consumes me. I think about it a lot. I look at how strong these people are. I don't know that the average person I know is this strong in life. I just don't know. I mean, these people are like, bring the smoke. Like, they're like, we want this. If you're going to come at us, you're going to get it. And they've been doing like a hell of a job right now. But this guy right here, they're going to make movies about this guy. This guy is damn Captain America come to life in a movie. So you were saying you kind of had questions about some things you'd heard about him, right? Like, such as what?
Again, before last week, I knew nothing about this person.
Me either.
And so I heard that he started out in entertainment. He's a comedian.
True, yeah.
I heard, and I don't know, everything I'm saying is just, or I haven't done any fact checking yet, so, but I've heard that he actually played a role as a president in either a movie or a TV show before he decided to run for president. And so, just the where this guy has come from, but to have the fortitude to do what he's doing now, I mean, you're right. He's a man's man. He deserves to be celebrated.
All right, so I'm going to go to Wikipedia. He was an actor, as we all know. He starred in a show called Servant of the People, in which he played the role of the president of the Ukraine. The series aired from 2015 to 2019 and was immensely popular. What in the name of God are you kidding me? This man was an actor who played the president. I mean, does this mean The Rock's going to be president, essentially? Is this what we're saying?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, can you pick what is a TV show where somebody's been president? Martin Sheen. Can you imagine the world we live in where if Martin Sheen was on the West Wing?
Not Martin Sheen.
And then Martin Sheen became the damn president of the United States of America. Like, we can't even fathom that, bro. We wouldn't even accept it as Americans. So he's been...
I mean, I look at that scene in Back to the Future when Marty tells Doc that Ronald Reagan's the president.
Right. He's like...
And it's just like, okay.
Right. He's like, no, that's not true. Yeah, no, it is true. So this man, obviously the women of the internet love this guy. Like I said, there's going to be movies about this guy. There's been 3 attempted assassinations on his life, I read. And he's just in there. And the U.S. on day 1 said, hey, if you want, we will come pick you up and get you out of there. He said, I don't need a taxi. I need ammunition. And be damned if that don't write itself in a damn script. You can just write that out right there. He's given speeches today. He found out today on cameras he's being interviewed. Now, he's a Jewish man. And Putin had bombed one of the Holocaust museums. And he found out on camera. You could just kind of see him. He didn't break. He didn't give you that moment where he broke on camera. But you can kind of see a little bit he was hurt by it, you know. And he just said, this is what Russia's going to give you. And for him to show that solidarity for all those people there, my heart is with him. I know that doesn't mean a whole lot, right? And it's one of those things where I can't really help with this situation. There's nothing I can do to help.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating that these people are, I mean, just watch some of the stories about it. They're literally having to move hospitals for kids like underground to another city. 1 million people have fled this country because they're scared they're going to be killed. And you see some crazy, there are regular Joes, John, picking up landmines. There's one guy that picks up a landmine with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and a Ukrainian guy is moving this landmine off this bridge where it doesn't kill people. I said, bro, forget about it. Write this movie, man. It's writing itself.
Yeah.
There is a fighter pilot over there called the Ghost of Kiev that is shooting down Russian planes left and right. The guy went off the grid for a while. They thought he was dead. He popped back up. This stuff writes itself. So it's going to be fun.
I mean, if he doesn't play himself, what were we saying, John Krasinski maybe?
Yeah, I see some John Krasinski there, you know. Yeah. He's not a bad-looking dude on top of that, so you can see how he's going to be. I mean, all that aside, I just hope these people get through this ordeal. They say the Russians are kind of starting to slow momentum. They're running out of money. They're running out of fuel. They're running out of food. But like I say, you got the madman, and Putin is a madman. There's no other way to describe him. If anyone's called him a genius or whatever, I think you've done disservice to anyone over there fighting. We don't know what this guy's going to do. Yeah. And today I found out there's a $1 million bounty on his head. And I think this is just encouraging people around him to put a bullet in his head. I really do, and I don't know that's going to happen, but he's used disinformation. He's propagandized his community. They say these soldiers get over there. A lot of them get over to Ukraine and they surrender. They're like, I don't even know what we're fighting for. I literally don't know what we're fighting for. I don't even know what's going on right now. So obviously it's a big story. It's on everything, and everyone's trying to use it as political ammunition. It's kind of sad, truthfully. I mean, it's really kind of sad. But kudos to this guy. This guy's our age, John. I don't know. I don't know. I'm saying I couldn't do everything he's doing right now. 0% chance.
I've also heard, again, I don't know if this quote is legit, but there were people talking about having pictures of him in their office. And he said, no, take the pictures down of me. Put your pictures up of your family.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
And make your decisions based on what you think of them.
Yeah. I mean, this was a comedian. This was a comedian who's now literally fighting for his country's survival, man.
I mean,
it's crazy.
I mean, who do you like? Paul Rudd's gonna run for president and change the world.
I think The Rock might be the closest thing. I think The Rock has a serious chance, John, of becoming president of America. And he's on a show right now where he's president of America in the show. And I think we're going to look back in a couple of years. I think if The Rock ran right now, today,
he probably could win.
he would probably beat Biden right now. Even though Biden's approval rating is a little bit higher than people are. I mean, you listen to Fox or any of those right-wing things, you would imagine that Joe Biden's approval rating is like a 2, but the latest approval rating says he's at like 44%, which is
pretty high.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good considering inflation, gas prices are up, we're at a war, COVID.
Well, just in bipartisanship, 44% approval rating is pretty good.
I've tried to tell people Biden's more conservative than he is liberal. I mean, come on, the guy's been a politician for decades.
Yeah.
You think he got there by being Bernie Sanders or whatnot? No. I mean, this guy's a populist politician, you know. He's more conservative than the conservatives want to give him. So, I don't know. All right, well, let's go to his last story. We talked about Kanye West and how he's kind of had a mental breakdown and he's been attacking Kim and verbally, and he's been attacking Pete Davidson. Well, he came out with this video yesterday or the day before. It's a claymation video. And in the video, him, now watch the video. I believe the other person in the video is the Game, who's on the track with him, and Eazy-E is who it looked like. The guy's wearing a black hat, and he's got a Jerry curl. To me, that would seem that was Eazy-E in the video. I'm just going to read the story. It seems that Kanye West still isn't over his ex or her relationship with Pete Davidson of SNL fame. On Wednesday, the 44-year-old rapper who recently changed his name to Yee shared the music video for Eazy, E-A-Z-Y, his new song with The Game, and it appears to feature, I'm going to strike that out, it features a clay figurine of Pete Davidson. Clocking about 4 minutes, the video is filled with murky black and white imagery. One sequence depicts a figure that resembles Kanye, putting a bag over the head of a figure that resembles Davidson, kidnapping him and burying him up to his neck. Seeds are planted and watered, and roses spring up around Davidson's look-like head. Representatives for Kanye and Davidson did not immediate comment. It has the lyrics in the song, God Save Me from the Crash, just so I could beat Pete Davidson ass. So that's where we're at with that. I mean, we've talked about this. We're in dangerous territory right now. Okay. This is obsession at this point.
Yeah.
And now I want to say, can you imagine you're the artist? Okay, you're Kanye West, John. You have to call an animator up and say, here's what I need you to do, man. I need a video where it's me in The Game, an Eazy-E. We're going to go kidnap someone and torture them. Like, all right, I mean, I've heard weirder, and I need that person to look like Pete Davidson. Who takes on that job? Well, money. Would you take it on? Would you take on the job?
How much money I make right now?
Yes.
How much is he throwing at me?
Let's say he's gonna pay $100,000. That's a no.
Not with my name attached to it. No.
I don't know who the name is attached to this video. It didn't say in the story.
I mean, I think you can find out.
Okay.
Though.
All right. So no. So 500,000.
We're getting into some
right.
talking territory there.
I just see. Look, we love cult of celebrity, right? We love Britney Spears. We love the Free Britney movement. We love watching these celebrities fall, bring themselves up. It's kind of like an American addiction.
Yeah.
If this continues on this route, I've already said, I don't know how this ends. It does not seem like it ends well. Even if Kanye does nothing to Pete Davidson, and I feel that Kanye West is all talk. I think if him and Pete Davidson were in the same room, he wouldn't do much of anything. He might have his bodyguards try to go beat him up, but whatever. I fear some crazy fan's going to watch this video a lot and go, it's now my mission to go hurt Pete Davidson.
And I mean, maybe that's his goal. Maybe that's what he wants. Kanye.
It might be. But, I mean, Kim Kardashian has already went to the court and said, I want to be listed as single on my marital status. So when they're not divorced yet, they're on the way. So what else does he want, man? It's over. What does he want, John? What do you think the man wants?
I gave up on trying to read what was going on between those guys' ears years ago.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So that's the stories of the week. Excuse me. All right. Well, let's get to it, man. Best biopics. Now, I don't have a definition of a biopic in front of me, but it is what do you understand a biopic to be, John?
It's got to be based not loosely, but heavily on a either real person or events. For almost anything. For my list, there's got to be a level of entertainment.
For sure, yeah.
I don't want it to just be strictly documentary because, in fact, I kind of dissuaded any documentaries. So all mine are like actual.
Yeah. No, I think for the list you got to have what makes a biopic. Just on the Google search. Motion picture tells the life story of a non-fictional real person. Usually revolving around a historical figure or famous person, although they can be about anyone as long as the person actually exists. So entertainment factored into you. Did realism factor into it to you?
For some of my choices, yes, but for some of them, no.
Okay. So there are some great ones out there.
There are.
And there's a lot to choose from. I'll say that. So that being said, we're going to go do the Mount Rushmore. And so what we do, me and John pick four we want on our Mount Rushmore. It's draft style. So when John picks one, it's off the board. So if John goes first, he picks one I want. I have to pick another one. It's off the board until we get our four. I believe you were first this week.
I believe so.
All right. So, John, Mount Rushmore biopics. Who you got up at number one?
Live in Nashville. Got to go with the homegrown, so Walk the Line.
Wow. Okay. So tell me a little bit about Walk the Line.
Walk the Line is about Johnny Cash and his him meeting and his love affair with June Carter.
Who was played by?
Reese Witherspoon.
Nashville's own.
Reese Witherspoon, yes, she grew up here. I personally am not actually a fan of Reese Witherspoon, but watching this movie, I didn't see her anymore. I got lost.
I'm with you. Not a huge fan. Probably one of my favorite performances by her, right?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about Joaquin Phoenix playing Johnny Cash, and he looks nothing like him at all?
I mean, I didn't see Joaquin either. I just kind of got lost into it. His voice isn't nearly as deep as Johnny's either. But it's easy to get sucked into. It's got music in it galore.
Right.
Everybody knows how I feel about that, and so if you got some time to kill, if you are in any way, shape, or form a fan of Johnny Cash's, then it's a great movie. If you are on the fence about him, you'll enjoy the movie.
Oh, it's a great movie. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix does not do bad movies anymore.
Yeah.
People need to realize that. Like, if he's in a movie, you probably want to go see it. So he kills it. I think that was kind of the knock on it for a lot of people, is that a lot of people see biopics and they want the person to look exactly like the person, right? If we know who they are.
Yeah.
That's the crime, I guess, you commit there.
I mean, there's going to be some on the list that do kind of fit that mold.
Oh, for sure, right? And we'll discuss those, as we get there. But I feel this is a great movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I've seen it multiple times. And I feel the soundtrack's solid as well.
Oh,
It really did a great job.
Him and Reese did their own singing on the soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
So that's another testament to both of their talent.
Yeah.
And again, it's really easy to lose yourself in the movie.
Right. 100%. All right, good choice. All right, well, since you kind of went that route, I'm just going to go grab, I guess I'll grab one of the better movies on the list critically. There's a lot of great ones. My God, that critically acclaimed, a lot of these movies are great. But let me go with the one I enjoy probably the most. And this is the movie called Goodfellas.
Oh, good.
Goodfellas, which is a movie about Henry Hill, who became essentially a member of the mafia to some degree. He was associated with the mafia, and it tells his story as he rises up through the ranks of the mafia. And if you've never seen Goodfellas, I don't know what kind of country you're living in, but this is a true story.
Yeah.
It's not the first movie made about Hank Hill either. He's actually in My Blue Heaven, which actually he was played by
Martin Short.
Yeah, Martin
movie.
Short plays him. He plays him after he goes into witness protection program. Yeah. So there's more than one movie about this. But I think what works about this movie is, number one, it's directed by a legend of the game, Martin Scorsese. I mean, the authenticity of this movie is unbelievable. You read any interview with guys, wise guys, mobsters, they're like, this movie is, it's legit, man. And it's a great story. I mean, it's a great focus on a time in history that happened. And it's almost hard to believe that this happened, that these people were just walking the streets. I mean, obviously people are familiar with the Sopranos, but Hank Hill is an interesting story that shows you kind of it in the vein of like Wolf of Wall Street. You know, I feel Wolf of Wall Street, I don't know if you were going to mention that one or not, but
I thought it was going to be on your list for sure.
No, because I feel this does everything that one does. I feel this is Martin Scorsese's best film. I would have liked to see Leo in this movie. It probably would be my favorite movie of all time, without a shadow of a doubt. But I feel that it hammers that. I feel Wolf of Wall Street left you at the end going, so what? I'll go commit some fraud. Who cares? You leave Goodfellas going, nah, man, I would never have wanted to be a gangster. And I think that kind of hits the mark. But, Hank Hill, man, what a story, what a movie, and it's one of my favorites. So there you go. Goodfellas. All right, John, what you got? It's your number 2.
My number 2, I will say, at the forefront, when it comes to accuracy, it severely drops the ball.
Oh, here we go.
But there's a lot of little instances in the movie that really grabbed me.
Okay.
And, I mean, you mentioned Leo, and I'm bringing him to the forefront.
Uh-oh.
Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I didn't know which Leo movie you were doing because
there's been a lot.
He's been in multiple.
Edgar Hoover, The Aviator.
Aviator, yeah.
And so, I mean, but I enjoy the movie.
Now, who is he? What's the guy's name in the movie?
Oh,
it's,
gosh.
Is it Frank?
Yeah, Frank Abenoth.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I'll look it up. But he's a con man.
Yeah, a forger.
One of the first premier forgers in America.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing things that literally nobody else was doing. I mean, that was kind of thing. Frank William Abagnale Jr. Yeah. I mean, it's a great movie, man. It's there's scenes in this movie I always think about all the time, you know.
I mean, from his relationship with his father, there's a lot of stuff I'm not proud about, things that my father did, but there are some things that I still admire about my dad.
Right. And
I feel that this works for this movie as well. There's a strong dissociatedness between him and father figures, and I think even on some level Tom Hanks' character is almost like a father figure to him.
Yeah.
In a way, and the fact that he's constantly reaching out to the person that's trying to get him every year.
Yeah.
On Christmas Eve of all days, a day that's meant to be with family.
Right.
And he chooses to call this guy that's trying to catch him in, and it's not like ha you didn't get me yet.
No, he's definitely Leo's character is definitely, as the movie presents. I mean, I don't know if that happened in real life or not, but I think it did. Reading about it, but he's definitely he's looking out for help, man. A lot of time in these situations where people are doing it, they're asking for help.
Yeah.
You know, they just don't know how to do it properly. Yeah, but what a movie! What a great movie. Amy Adams, Christopher Walken, Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
What a cast! You know, from top to bottom. So, good choice, man. That's we had to have Leo on the list. He's done too many.
Yeah,
and that may be the only movie he lists, but that's a great one. Okay, I'm going with my second one. Now, sometimes you read the book, you're invested in the person, and I waited years to watch this movie because I said, "There's no way this movie can be as detailed as this book. There's no way, dude." A buddy of mine at work, Leland, gave me a copy of Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X. He said, "You need to read this."
I mean,
brother.
I knew this was going to be on your list.
And I read the book, and I said, "This book, it blew me away." It really changed. A lot of people go, when did you really start kind of leaning toward the less to the right, more to the left? I would say around the time I read this book and really understood who the man was. And I waited years to watch the movie because, I mean, I'm not the biggest Spike Lee fan. I mean, he's all right. He's serviceable. I've watched most of his movies. But I really was waiting. I love Denzel. And I was like,
As you should.
have you ever just like, I don't want to be disappointed. Like, I don't want this movie to suck. And during the pandemic, I said, I'm going to watch the movie. It's 3 hours long. That's another reason. I watched it and I said, holy mackerel, this movie is like about as faithful to the book as you could be, given the time period. Yeah. But, I mean, it tells the story of Malcolm X, who was a man who was not the man we know him as today. He was a guy that ran the streets. He was a guy that committed crimes. He was a bootlegger. He was a gambler. He was all...
A lot of people don't realize the facets of him.
No.
He was a very different person from when, well before he got into the religion and then the movement, and then even that changed from... He
essentially got three aspects to his life. And so when people like to talk about Malcolm X, they'll always talk about the middle part. Because, I mean, it's the most fascinating part, right? The first part was him before he became Malcolm X. Okay, get that. Red was his nickname. He had freckled, he had, all that. Then he went to jail, became Malcolm X as we know him, and that's the radical guy that walked around saying, we don't need the white man's help, any means necessary, extreme. And then there was the end of his life where he realized that a lot of the things he'd been told about the Nation of Islam were fake. And he started to go more toward the traditional peaceful Muslim religion that most people don't want to acknowledge. And to me, that's the most interesting part of his life to me. Yeah. But no one really talks about that, because it doesn't work on a T-shirt. By any means necessary works. That's like, oh, shit, yeah, that's a good motto. Be peaceful toward all people. It don't work so well. Yeah. But the movie's great. Denzel just blows it out of the water.
And, I mean, you're talking about embodying somebody.
Yeah, you forget you're watching Denzel on the screen. You're watching Malcolm X.
And Denzel Washington is, bar none, one of the most recognizable figures.
Oh, without a doubt,
in America,
right? Yeah.
And to forget that that's him.
Yeah, he just kills it. So,
and I mean, that's not the only role that could end up on a list like this of his.
Oh yeah, he's another one that's done some great roles. So there we go, Malcolm X. I had to put it on there. If you've never watched it, you've just waited. It's a good film. And Spike Lee's he's a good director. Some of his choices, I'm a little bit like, why did you do that? But whatever. So anyway, okay. Number 3, John, for you.
Number 3, I hit music. I hit, I guess, crime. Now I'm gonna hit something else near and dear to my heart, and that's comedy.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The main actor that plays the lead role is, I mean, when you think of just drop dead comedy, you think of this guy, and then the person that he's playing, the styles could be very, very vastly different. One, the main subject of the film, extremely subtle humor, very dry, but could be over the top. But when he was over the top, he didn't want you to know he was being over the top, and that is Man on the Moon.
Yep, Man on the Moon, the Andy Kaufman biopic. I've watched... If I really look at biopics, what biopic have I probably watched the most? It would probably be Wolf of Wall Street, right? But minus that, I've seen Man on the Moon many, many times.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Courtney Love, but I mean, I had a crush on her watching this movie.
She kills it in this and Larry Flint. She is great in both.
Another
biopic, which is kind of crazy, right? She is really good in this movie. And whatever you think of Jim Carrey, some people think he's just too much, and I get that at points. Okay,
I definitely
get
that.
it. I still love him. I do love him. He's probably, if you say who's your favorite comedic actor, it's probably him, truthfully. But sometimes it's a bit much. This movie is none of that. He took this very seriously. Yes. He took the craft seriously. I mean, much to the dismay of some of his other actors, but he transformed into Andy Kaufman, which I think is a huge testament to Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
But man, I mean, what a cast! Danny DeVito. You had Jerry Lawler showing up as Jerry Lawler, which is great. Those scenes were.
I mean, there's a lot of his old Taxi cast. Christopher Lloyd, Tony Danza, Judd Hirsch, all reprise their roles.
Yeah.
Which there's only one of two reasons you do that. That's either the love for the craft or the love for the subject material. So I mean, as much as a lot of people wanted to keep Andy Kaufman at arm's length, they can't underestimate his genius.
Yeah. It's a fantastic movie. It's a good choice, man. I didn't even think about that one, but it's fantastic.
And I mean, for those who know us, we huge wrestling fans, and I mean, we've always wanted. I mean, it'd be great to be that wrestling heel, but I mean, obviously we don't have the body for it. Andy Kaufman didn't have the body for it, so he made it work, and so he would wrestle women.
Yeah,
and it's just.
Well, and he had a Memphis crowd of Southern wrestling ready to kill him. Those people wanted him dead.
Yeah, pitchforks and all. Yeah,
and that's the greatest. And
he reveled in it. This is like, that's why I'm here.
That's the greatest testimonial you can have. Did the fans want to kill you in wrestling? You did your job. Good job. All right, well, I will jump on with this. I will give you a comedian. I will not give you Andy Kaufman. But I will give you this movie. I watched it many times. It's another movie I watched many times. And this is before this guy really came back into the peripheral of society. But I used to watch this movie. I said, this dude is one of the best actors of our generation. And it's based on a comedian role. And that is Robert Downey Jr. as Chaplain. I've watched Chaplain so many times. I used to watch this. This is before MCU. This is before he came back. This is all this. And my dad had a copy of it, and he loved this movie, and I watched it, and I've watched it numerous times. I said, this guy is one of the great actors of our generation. And it tells the story of Chaplain. It tells the story of one of the most famous, recognizable comedians. Even if people haven't seen any of his movies, you know Chaplain when you see him.
Yeah.
And it tells the story of how he rose up in comedy, how he was part of the McCarthy era, how he was deemed almost a communist, how said he would never work again. It's a period piece. It looks like it was shot in the 1940s, but it's modern. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but he does such a role. He transforms into Chaplain. And to me, that's what's great about it. When you're watching these movies and you forget at some points, like I'm not watching Robert Downey Jr. I'm literally watching Chaplain on there. And the thing about this, I didn't know anything about Chaplain before watching this movie. Like, I mean, shoot, man. Andy Kaufman, at least we knew like a little bit about that guy, right? I knew nothing about Chaplain, and I learned so much through this movie and just how kind of revolutionary he was and how he spoke to authoritative power and spoke against Hitler and really was putting his ass on the line. I mean, these weren't things other people were doing.
I mean, there was a lot of actors at the time when he was in his heyday. It's not like he was just trying to come up, but I mean, he had a lot to lose that were blacklisted, and a lot of those people were people that weren't standing up.
Right. No.
So the fact that he's just like, face the dragon, as it were.
Right. And he's kind of a tragedy. He has tragedy in his life. I mean, he wasn't the greatest husband. He wasn't this or that, but it kind of follows him through the end. So I love that movie. That's when I knew. I said, I know he had problems with drugs in the past. I said, this guy is going to be something. And here we are. He's one of the most beloved actors today. So Chaplin's mine. Number 3. All right, John, wrapping up with your number 4.
So as far off from reality as Catch Me As You Can was, I feel like I have to go the opposite route and go hard to the paint when it comes historically. And so I am going to go with your boy Daniel Day-Lewis and Lincoln.
Oh, okay. Good movie. Good movie. Just watched it a few months ago. Truthfully. And, now when we list everyone on here and we can say, Denzel became Malcolm X, or this dude become this or this, that, Daniel Day-Lewis literally became Lincoln.
He did things with this role to preserve reality that went against what everyone's expected norm was. I mean, when you picture Lincoln and when you picture a voice or you try to hear a voice to him, you picture this low or low pitch, and his voice technically wasn't like that. And Daniel Day-Lewis found that out, and he
Right.
used that. He used mannerisms by the way he walked, the way he stood, and photos, and bridged all these things together to amass this puzzle, to put this person together
Right.
from every little piece by piece. And for someone that has that, the fortitude and the drive for their craft like that, Daniel Day-Lewis is, it's no surprise he's one of the greatest actors of our time.
He's the greatest actor of our time. I'll definitively say he is the greatest actor of our time, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But yes. So I watched this movie, and I think everyone should have to watch it, because I think when we were talking earlier about State of the Union, I actually thought of Lincoln, that there's always been nuts out there, right? Like, even during the slavery time, there were crazy ass people out there.
Yeah.
On both sides. Some people are like, yo,
I mean, true abolitionists were like ready to kill.
Right. Yes. I mean, so there's always been this, and it takes you kind of through the process of how we got through this time, the worst time in American history.
Yes.
Like, that's the worst time right there. We can say Trump was the worst time, but no, this literally was one of the worst times.
It's a black mark on humanity.
Yeah, right. Forever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like Lincoln did it all by himself. There were other key players, but man, I could watch this guy be Lincoln for like 8 hours, man.
Yep.
And just the performance he did, and just the kind of understanding of that we weren't as close to ending slavery as people think we were. This took some work, dude. I mean,
and it wasn't like a flip of the coin either. I mean, South Carolina seceded from the Union years before this.
right.
So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if you haven't seen Lincoln, you definitely should. You should watch any Daniel Day-Lewis movie. I mean, just go watch his movies. But yeah, that's a great.
I mean, other movies that could definitely be on the list with him in it. I mean, There Will Be Blood.
Oh, wow.
It's technically a biopic.
A great movie.
Yeah, and so I mean,
Great.
yeah, he.
My Left Foot, which
Mm-hmm.
he won an Oscar for. Did he win an Oscar for this one? I feel like he probably did.
I think he did.
If he didn't, he
don't
should.
know if Last of the Mohicans is technically a biopic or not, but
Pretty much.
he.
Right,
was in
I
it
mean, pretty
too.
much. I
Yeah.
mean, it's about something. Yeah, I mean, he's great. He can. I mean, the guy's just amazing. All right, let me get to my last one, and then we'll start wrapping up. I'm going to go with a music one. I didn't get to a music one. You did Walk the Line. I'm going to pick the other music one that everyone would pick. Ray, of course. Ray Charles, the story of Ray
Another
Charles.
person that really embodied.
Yes, played by Jamie Foxx, literally became Ray Charles. We learned so much about this man who we didn't know much about. His struggle with losing his eyesight, his struggles with being a blind musician, which you can't even think about. I still think about how he would only be paid by ones, where they couldn't stiff him on his payment. That blows my mind. Like, I think of that all the time. His heroin addiction, his problem with women, his problem with his family, and how he kind of turned it around. If you have not seen the movie Ray, just go see it. You will be blown away.
Jamie Foxx worked with Ray Charles the whole time when he was preparing for this movie, side by side. And apparently, Ray Charles was not easy on him.
Oh, I bet he wasn't.
He'd do something that wasn't, he hit a wrong note, or just the way he would hit a note.
Right, yeah.
He backhanded him.
Oof.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I'm like, to have the fortitude not to spring on some blind dude whooping up on him.
Right.
He would wear prosthetics over his eyes so he could not
It's crazy.
see
Yeah.
while he was auditioning, like just practicing for the role. One time that they accidentally left him on the soundstage because they forgot.
Who, Jamie Foxx?
Yeah.
Or Ray? Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
That's
they
funny.
left Jamie Foxx going because they forgot he can't see because of those
That's
prosthetics,
hilarious.
and he needed help getting him on and off because he didn't want to be able to take him off on his
Right.
own.
It's Jamie Foxx. We could do a whole episode about it. He's such a fascinating guy. But if you want a stamp on how good the guy was, we'll bring it back to Kanye. Kanye did a song called Gold Digger with a sampling by Ray Charles and used Jamie Foxx to do the sample on the song.
Yeah.
Enough said right there. So that's my last one, Ray. All right, let me run down our list. We'll start wrapping it up. John had Walk the Line, Catch Me If You Can, Man on the Moon, Lincoln. I had Goodfellas, Malcolm X, Chaplain, and Ray. Solid list. What What else did you?
I mean,
did you
I'm
leave off?
fortunate. I literally got my 4 choices in.
Okay.
But other ones I had Malcolm X,
Yeah.
Schindler's List,
Yes, I had that one.
Theory of Everything, Sid and Nancy.
Yes.
I had Ray. I enjoyed the movie, but it couldn't be further off. Was Greatest Showman.
Okay.
I don't know if you could even count that.
I did not have
Ali,
that. Yeah.
Chariots of Fire, Lawrence of Arabia.
Chariots, John.
It's based on it.
Chariots of Fire is a trash movie. It's not good.
It's got Oscars, man.
We've already discussed this.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, of course.
Saving Mr. Banks. Great Balls of Fire. Amadeus. Bohemian Rhapsody. Rocket Man. Coal Miner's Daughter. What's Love Got to Do with It?
That's a good one.
Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Moneyball. That's a great movie.
It is.
Moneyball.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a fantastic movie.
Ford versus Ferrari. Rush. And The Aviator.
I had some of you got Raging. I had Raging Bull, Schindler's List, Braveheart, which is one I wanted to put that on there. Elephant Man, another great one, and Monster with Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put the women on there, but they don't have. I mean, Tina Turner would have come closest, right? But hey, that's the point of the list. Let us know what you think are the greatest biopics of all time. I'm sure we'll get a number of selections. And we'd love to hear from and hit us up on our social media. That is the end of the show, people. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You know, if you want more, go to bybpod.com. That is our website. You can get all the past episodes, find all of our social media links, find all of our ways to grab the podcast, email the show, and also our Amazon affiliate link, John. What about that?
If you go to bybpod.com, go to the Amazon affiliate link. If you go that way to do your Amazon shopping, it will help us out. There's no limit as to what you cannot get on Amazon. You know, you get your groceries on Amazon.
You can have them delivered. Use that link. It's simple, as John said. Go to bybpod.com. Click on that Amazon link. Buy things. Help the show. So, all right. Well, we've come to the end of it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully we're just really hoping for more peaceful things to come out of Ukraine. Things are breaking every minute, so we'll see what happens with that. But, you know, send goodwill toward each other. And, John, with all that being said, is there anything else?
Don't blame yourself when you can blame your brother.
And that is the end.